So starting our new unit is we're going to be talking about the perimeter of different figures. So what I want you guys to kind of try and keep in your head is the difference between perimeter, area, and when we get into it, volume. These are all different measurements, but they're all very related. So the idea with perimeter is, like, if you can kind of imagine you're taking a piece of string and you're trying to wrap it around the outside of a figure, like a ribbon on a present or something. So the idea is perimeter is that single thin one-dimensional unit, and we'll get into that a little bit more later on. But so I've taken my little red string here and I've wrapped it around my rectangle. That's what we're trying to find. How long is that string? So you're going to be dealing with individual units like inches, feet, miles, as opposed to square units like square inches, square feet, square miles. And we'll do like a whole separate lesson on the difference between those two when we get into it. But for now, what you need to get out of this is basically for most shapes, I'm not saying all, for most shapes, you just need to add up the lengths of the sides. So in this example right here, across the top, I've got 4 units long in my perimeter. Then I've got 3 down the right-hand side, then another 4 across the bottom, and another 3 up the left-hand side. So if I add those up, 4 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3, I get a perimeter of 14. Now it's going to be 14 whatever units those lengths were, like 14 inches, 14 feet, 14 whatever. I'm not too concerned about that yet. So just kind of keep that in mind, that the units are, we've dealt with units before. Your answer is typically in the unit that you're given, except when we get into area, and that's going to be a little bit different. So just kind of jumping in on the first one here, I've got a square. Each side of this square is 14 meters. So when I add that up, 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, this thing has a perimeter. Whoops, perimeter. Let's try that again. Holy crap. Perimeter of 16 meters. Yikes. Okay. Your homework is a Google form. I'm giving you a shape, asking you for the perimeter. Add up the sides. That's your answer. Don't try putting units in it, or it will flag your answers incorrect. Okay. Grab a calculator. You got one on your phone if you don't have one. So I'm going to add up the sides of this rectangle on the right here. This guy has a perimeter 23.8 miles. Okay, round these appropriately. You know, if you get a decimal for your answer, don't just chop it off. My parallelogram down here has a perimeter of 40. This is making me upset. 40.2. My trapezoid, if you don't know what that shape is called, it's called a trapezoid. I'm going to add up the sides on that guy. And this has a perimeter of 37. Let's try that again. Perimeter of 37.6. Okay. We're going to do like a little small section on the properties of these figures, because you won't always be given all of these measurements. Sometimes you're going to have to kind of figure out 1 or 2 that might be missing, and that revolves a little bit of just kind of thinking. So these, I've given you all the sides here. These are a little bit more straightforward. If you notice, I've got opposite sides being equal. That's because this thing's a parallelogram. So the perimeter of this guy is 34 feet. This shape here is called a kite or a diamond. So if I add these up, this guy's also got a perimeter of 34, but this time inches. And 20, 20, 28, 32 yards. Now, if you paid attention in a geometry class before, you might have heard something called not necessarily drawn to scale. There is no way that these 3 figures would fit on the same page if they were drawn to scale. This one has a perimeter of 34 inches. This has a comparable perimeter, but 34 feet, so it's way bigger. But just for the sake of what we're doing, it's a small representation of it. And this one, 32 yards, literally would be the biggest one by far. But again, getting it down onto scale on our paper, it's going to be much smaller.